and gentlemen, welcome back to the Opportunity Zone. I'm Nate Armstrong, and we've got Mr. What's your name again?
The bald guy.
We got Mr. Chris Lavin back in house. He got back from his trip a week ago or so, but we've got a lot of news to cover today. So, Chris, we're going to talk about the K-shaped economy, the recovery that some people are saying.
Can't make it good.
Can't make a K with your hands.
Nope.
We're going to talk about that and how that impacts your returns. We're also going to talk about why Austin is down by 25% right now, while other parts of the country like the Midwest are surging. We're also going to go through New York City's wealth tax. We got somebody up there saying there's going to be a tax on millionaires.
I can't gonna be saying it long.
You got some comments on that, I'm sure.
Mm-hmm.
We'll talk also about Bank of America's Paycheck data. They're signaling some signs right now that the Fed has to pay attention to in regards to interest rates, whether they cut or don't cut. We've also got the Treasury's pension time bomb. We're going to talk about what that means for us as investors as well. All right, I'm going to kick us off with a quick Bible lesson, then I'll hand it over to Chris for the blessing of the week, and then we're going to jump into the news. So here's the Bible lesson. It comes from the book of Proverbs. Remember, this was mostly written by a man named Solomon, probably the wealthiest person to walk on the earth. If there would have been a Jeff Bezos and Elon Musk of his day, he would have had more wealth than them put together. And he said that putting confidence in an unreliable person in times of trouble is like chewing with a broken tooth. I was actually trying to get that visual as I read this to the boys this morning.
Well, we know what happens when I chew with my broken tooth.
Doesn't work out so well.
My throat stops working.
Yeah.
Bad things happen, basically.
So you don't keep unreliable people around. And I'm not going to tell a story on that today, but I'm just going to say this, that this man here is the fastest to spot it that I've ever seen. And he doesn't hesitate. Like when there's not the right fit, he just politely moves on. And I appreciate that. I applaud that. All right, let's get into it. So first up, Mr. Lavin, I want to take us down. And we cannot forget the blessing. Please, would you mind giving us a blessing first?
Heavenly Father, I ask that you come into this conversation and bring your wisdom and your guidance as we try to share our wisdom and our experiences. A lot of our wisdom comes from our experiences. Please allow us to share this with the people that are listening and watching right now so they can take the gifts and the talents that you bless them with so they can multiply them and be fruitful so that they have the confidence and faith to walk forward and affect the world in a positive way. I ask for you to be a part of this, and I ask this in your name. Amen.
Amen.
Thank you.
All right, let's get in. We're going to first go, and Chris, I'm going to hide us for a minute so that we can let the news anchor talk for a second. We need to talk a little bit about a developing story.
That's a minced word. Scott Bessent making some sharply critical remarks about the 2010 Dodd-Frank Banking Reform Act and promising sweeping deregulation to help stem the decline in community banking.
The post-crisis framework has left a trail of destruction in its wake by reinforcing the larger economic dynamics that have hollowed out the American heartland while enriching the money centers in coastal cities. To be clear, the financial crisis underscored the need for new regulations. The purpose of Dodd-Frank was to end too big to fail, but it ended up creating too small to succeed.
Comments from the Treasury Secretary regarding...
So we've got Mr. Bessent, Scott Bessent, Treasury Secretary. He was overseeing the IRS until they just appointed somebody else to take that post over.
Yeah, let's not talk about that.
You're not your favorite guy. But Scott, he's done pretty good things. And,
yes.
And he's now coming out and saying, hey, Dodd-Frank is too restrictive. It's slowing stuff down. It was designed to keep big banks from failing, but what's really happening is it's choking in the little banks. What are your thoughts on this? It looks like they might be doing some trimming.
Well, let me put this out. First of all, I'm a fan. Like I'm a big fan of Bessent, what he's doing. But I'm a little bit tired of this swing, this pendulum swing that we have, right? It's either their way or our way. There's not a lot of our way. You know what I mean? It's not a lot of us in the middle. What do I mean by that? So first, too big to fail was a disaster. Now, too small to succeed is a disaster. But we can't get rid of the things that have been keeping us safe from bank failures. We got to find that happy medium. And unfortunately, we see a lot of, Democrat, Republican, not negotiation with something in the middle. I think this is desperately what we need here. I think we need to loosen up a little bit, but we can't just turn the reins over and end up with another 2008. We just can't.
The pendulum swinging. We'll talk
Too
about
far.
we'll talk about that swing in a little bit on the shutdown and that the government's facing.
Please, you don't want to get me started on that.
Before we go there, let's talk New York for a second.
Oh, goodness.
You've got this candidate for mayor.
Won't for long.
Put him up on the screen right now. Just did his first interview since being the presumptive nominee on Fox, first interview on Fox. And he comes right out and says, yes, there will be a tax on millionaires. And he outlines, I don't want to go as far as to say it's a communist agenda. That's what a lot of the media pundits are saying. They're
Socialist. Definitely socialist.
Yeah. What are your thoughts?
My thoughts? What are my thoughts?
You used to live in this area. It's not home
What are my
anymore,
thoughts? First of all, I got some uncles, right? And then those uncles, they talk a lot with their hands. They got lots of vowels in their name. If I'm going to be brutally honest, if this guy pulls this kind of stuff, he better double his security. There's going to be some people wanting to kill him. And there are going to be people with means that will, bad stuff's going to happen to this guy. If they don't just out and out, off him, they're going to figure out a way to get him out of office, one way or the other. Think about what he's battling against. This doesn't make sense. This is in New York. You know how many millionaires are there are so many millionaires in New York. Somebody's going to stand up and do something about the problem rather than the symptom. And, this guy's days may be numbered as a result. I'm not one that encourages or even condones violence, but I'm here to tell you, this guy is gambling with his life right now. He needs to go into a locked bunker and make sure that, he only orders pizza from one pizza joint for the rest of his life because don't look good for this guy. I mean, think about it. Just think about what exists in the Northeast.
What's startling is the rally cry behind him. All the people that are like, yes, yes, and he's getting all the support and momentum. And I get it. It's people that, maybe they're not in the same bucket. They're not going to be affected by a millionaire tax.
But let's be honest, right? So the cost of living in New York is significantly higher than other places in the country. It's right there with West Palm Beach and stuff. So it's hard to even survive on $100,000 a year. So they want to go after the people that have been successful. I think a better idea is for you to leave New York. If you can't make enough money to afford to live there are other places in the country where you would be more comfortable rather than living in the big city where the cost of living is higher. So we get all these people with all these rally cries, but you're exactly right. They're not digging into their pockets. Let's say this. Let's take 10% more from everybody in the state. I'm good with that. Because 10% from a guy that's got $1 million in the bank is $100,000. 10% from a guy that's got $1,000 in the bank is $100. I think that doing something like that is fair. It's just me.
Flat tax.
Flat tax. Right across the board. You pay your share, I pay my share. I make a lot more money, I pay more than you. Just the way it works out. But apply it evenly. If you start singling out people with means like this guy, I'm telling you, there's powers and there's stuff and darkness and all kinds of stuff. It ain't gonna end well for this guy. Not gonna end well. Unless this guy is just using this as a rally cry to get into office, but he knows better than to do something like that. That's the only way I see him getting out of this.
I don't know what's going to happen, but he's the presumptive nominee, and he says he's going to do it. So let's see. Let's move on, though. We're going to move out of New York for a second.
Oh, that guy's got stupid he ain't used yet.
He's got stupid.
Anyways.
I'm going to pull up the shutdown news. So we're in, week 3 of this big shutdown?
Prior in 2018, it was 38 days, I think, was the longest shutdown.
38 days. Let's see how long this one ticks. The polls coming out now are saying that more of the blame is getting shifted to the Democrats.
Of course. Of course. Well, listen, I'm not even going to get into my political views, but just think of the perception, the optics on this, right? They're saying, they want this in there and that in there. We got to change this and that. When the Republicans, whether or not they're
watch this, because interest rates sensitivity, the Federal Reserve is paying so much attention to data on a couple different buckets. This is one of the key bucket areas. Bank of America just went through and analyzed all of their paycheck data. So Bank of America, biggest bank in America, presumably, they get a lot of paychecks that get deposited. They're noticing some trends that are happening, and they're sounding the warning right now, saying that the employment situation is looking a little bit more grim as time progresses. And so this data, when it gets to Jerome Powell's desk at the Federal Reserve, what do you think is going to happen with it?
He's going to go, It's like it has all the other times. Listen, this is like empirical data. You can't deny what they're saying. Now, just for basic understanding, you raise rates, you slow inflation, right? But you also slow down the economy and increase unemployment, right? So as unemployment starts increasing, you've got this terrible balancing act that the Fed is responsible for. And if they were really doing it without personalities involved, it's a very difficult job. You know, you gotta lower a few points to accelerate the economy, to bring interest rates down. Unemployment numbers down, and so at the same time, keep things moving, keep things accelerating. And they haven't done that, and it's been a personality thing. But you gotta understand something. Mr. Powell always claimed that if he had empirical data that unemployment was suffering or increasing, that he would lower the rates. And he hasn't lived up to that word as of yet. He's a quarter point. That's ridiculous. We need at least another 3/4 of a point in order to accelerate the economy to get it back. But he doesn't want to do it because if he does, and this is me being a psychic, right? There's no facts on this. This is my opinion. If he does it, it's going to look like Trump was right all along, and he's just not going to allow that. So we've got a lot more suffering going on because of two punks sticking their chests out trying to prove, big men on campus.
Federal Reserve has the dual mandate to essentially they're stabilizing the economy. That's kind of the role, and they have to keep employment at a stable position, and that's what he's balancing right now. And
It's a tough job.
It is, yeah. So let's see what happens. Next up, we've got some big news breaking right now. Chris, I know that this is a stock play, and we're not stock advisors. We're not advising anyone on stocks, but I think everyone should pay attention to this. Here it comes.
That theme.
By the way, the president is going to take a portion of Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac public. I know that many firms have been meeting with the president, you as well. Bank of America, Citi, JP Morgan, all want this deal. Are you expecting to be the lead on that deal?
We're trying.
You're trying.
It's a big opportunity for the government, for the U.S., and obviously Bank of America being part of that is an exciting thing. We don't have any information on it yet, but we're up.
You don't want to break news right here?
No, I can't. I don't have it to break.
Yeah. What about the China story? Do you
that theme?
By the way, the president is.
So what he's saying is that they're in the running. This Bank of America, they're in the running to help take Fannie Mae and Freddie Mac public. They're going to do an IPO, initial public offering. And this is setting the stage, at least the media is saying that this could be the biggest IPO in history. They did not do it during Trump's first term. They delayed, and now here we are on the doorstep. We might have two government-controlled businesses that go public. Your thoughts, and how would this affect investors?
My thoughts. I am for lack of government oversight or pulling government oversight out of the situation. So that would be wonderful. Secondarily, have you seen the balance sheets of these companies? They got so much. This would probably be one of the most secure offerings that I've seen in a long, long time. It's insane the amount of money that these businesses have. And lastly, I think that I'm not sure of exactly the deal structure yet. I haven't dove enough into it. But if we have two entities competing against each other, I think at the end of the day, it's going to be better for the American public, the American businessman, and the investor overall. Because now I don't have to take what I got. I get some choices onto what I can have.
Yeah, I'm all for this 100%.
Definitely. I have no second thoughts on it.
There's some folks out there that are saying, well, hey, if the government loses its control over these two entities.
Oh, good Lord. Because we know the government does such a great job of controlling things.
Exactly. I would just challenge the person that says that to go to the DMV. Wait in line. I had to go get the vehicle tabs renewed the other day. They wouldn't allow me to do it online, so I had to physically go, and I was reminded of that experience again. Like, even though I booked an appointment in advance, there's this whole process in line, waiting. So yeah.
That always reminds me of the Seinfeld episode. That's what the reservation is for. Doesn't matter you had an appointment. Get in line, son.
All right. There is a K-shaped economy. This is what they're saying. A K-shaped economy happening right now where the wealthier are getting much wealthier, and some of the folks that are not as well off are falling behind, struggling. And it goes on further if we get into some of the depths of this, but the average
This is insane.
house price has surpassed $400,000. And since mortgage rates are 6.5 plus for most borrowers right now, it's making it unattainable to get a home loan. It's becoming, people are getting priced out with this K-shaped economy. Your thoughts, Chris?
Well, I mean, just do the math, right? 400,000 at 6.5%, but that's 24,000 and another half a point. That's another 2,000. That's $26,000 a year in interest. And for those of you paying attention, that's 2,200 roughly just in interest. We're not even talking about principal. We're not talking about taxes. We're not talking about insurance. That is really like we're pricing people out of paradise for all intent and purposes. It's amazing. And it's difficult, right? So something's going to change. Something's going to change. The best thing to change is for interest rates to come down. That would be ideal.
That's the easy button.
Easy button, yeah. But you know that makes all other kinds of things happen too. That it's gonna then that drives the house prices up some more. That's another balancing act.
That's the dual mandate we were talking about. And so the second part of that is the Fed has to keep inflation down. That's their
tough job.
So they got to keep inflation down, but they got to keep employment healthy, nice and strong. So they've got a balancing act.
Anything else? If the personalities weren't involved in what's going on with that right now, I would have the utmost respect for the people doing that job. But I don't, because they're making it personal and we're suffering as a result.
You mean like Federal Reserve Board governors being fired but not actually in their posts?
That and the ones that are actually committing fraud, mortgage fraud. Oh yeah, I forgot about that. Yeah.
They got indicted, but they can still
continue to work. Yeah.
Interest rates.
Well, you know, the president's a convicted felon, so.
We're being facetious about this, but in real life,
sanity.
There's a federal board governor right now who's been indicted. Like literally got a charge out there, and anyways,
been fired.
And she got fired, but she refuses to leave her post. So
I think she was starring in that movie. Was it Office Space?
Milton
in Office Space.
Milton's the guy that sits down in the closet because he gets fired and he gets demoted, and eventually fired. And he's sitting in the closet, and then he says, "But what about my stapler?" Poor Milton. Okay, let's move onwards. So we've got the list. These are the metropolitan markets right now that are seeing the biggest slides in the last couple of years. So 2022 was marked as the peak of real estate values in most markets across America.
This is SFR, right? Single family?
Yeah, single family only. Okay, we'll talk about multifamily in a minute or two, but single family, this is what you'll hear on the news. And so we're going to hit some of these markets here. Chris, what market do you think is the worst off right now?
It's going to be somewhere in Texas.
Exactly. Austin, Texas, negative 25%. If you were looking for a buying window potential, this might be your window. Now, I'm not on the ground in Texas, so I can't speak to Austin specifically yet, but it's dropped like a rock.
Yeah.
Dropped like a rock. They just kind of overbuilt. You've got some other kind of highlights on here. New Orleans, negative 13.8% drop in single family value. Meanwhile, if we go to the top of the graph, you've got some growth. You got Cleveland. Yeah, Cleveland's up 4.6%, mostly Midwest cities here. You got a Connecticut city, Hartford, that's gone up 4.1%. So while most of the country is kind of seeing somewhere in the middle, you've got the extreme ends. You've got the Texases, the Dallases, the Phoenixes that have dropped, and then you've got the Midwest, which is still climbing.
Yeah, you know, that's interesting to see that data, because we all of a sudden all these deals coming at us from Austin. Like I've had 6 or 7 deals come across my desk in Austin, and I'm not a fan of Austin. I don't know why. It's just a gut. No, I don't mean that like I don't like Austin as a city. I mean that I don't like it as a deal right now, and I keep pushing it away. Just a gut feeling, and this is an indication, right? Because as housing prices come down, people leave leave rentals and stop buying. So I guess God was looking out for me right there. I didn't know it.
Yeah.
Imagine that. God looking out for me. Imagine that.
In Austin, I think it can be the right mix because the state of Texas is landlord friendly, but the city of Austin is not controlled by conservative business friendly people. They're a little bit different politically, so that city can be a little more dicey to work in. Okay, Chris, I want to comment on this real quick. I'd like to get your take, but Home Depot, they announced this path to training for skilled trades, meaning they're going to train electricians, plumbers, all the folks that are in the trades, HVAC, and they're doing it for free, at least up until the licensing portion of it. What are your thoughts on this?
Listen, I think it's awesome. We need trades. And I think it's a great thing that Home Depot's doing. But listen, let me be honest with you. it's self-serving at the same time. But that's okay. They're serving the public, but they are self-serving, right? Because think about it. If you're an electrician, an HVAC guy, or a plumber, and Home Depot has paid for your training, where are you going to buy your stuff? Come on, let's get honest. Let's get real. So it's self-serving, but hey, they're serving themselves and they're serving us at the same time. So God love them. God love them. And we need it.
My childhood best friend, he's a doctor now. And as he went through medical school, he kept getting free things all the time. And if you looked at who they were from, it was from Pfizer, from this pharmaceutical.
Yep.
It's kind of a play like that, but good for Home Depot. All right. All right, Chris, changing gears on you, we have the biggest revival we've seen in Christianity. More baptisms, more Bibles, more church attendance since the assassination of Charlie Kirk. What's happening? Why is this surge happening right now?
Man, I'm going to pontificate, and that's all this is. But Charlie was extremely intelligent, very well spoken, and very outspoken. Whether you agreed with his principles or not, he had an intelligent argument for everything that he spoke about. He didn't just say it just because. He backed everything up with historical detail and historical facts, well, and all of that. I think that we lost somebody extremely significant when we lost him. But his death, it may turn out to be one of the best things to Christianity, and I don't mean that in a negative way. I mean that just for that reason. Like, people all of a sudden realizing that if you're a white Christian in this country, you're oppressed, like, or you're trying to be oppressed, and you're trying to be silenced because of what's going on in society. So I think that, his death is horrific, but I think from a martyr standpoint, it's a beautiful thing because it's bringing a lot of people to Christianity and into salvation and to all the things that go along with that. And you could, like, my heart breaks over this whole situation because he's got a family and kids and what happened. And the funny thing is he wasn't trying to silence anybody. He was just trying to be heard. He never tried to silence anybody. He tried to present intelligent arguments and facts. And the people that wanted to be heard, one of them is responsible for shutting him up. And that whole notion just tears at my heart, because totally cool dude, man. And I'm glad that at least something good is coming out of it. That people are getting really woke up to the reality of that there is a God and that there is a way to salvation, and they're finding it. This just even talk about this breaks my heart.
Well, one thing that made my heart jump for joy is that his funeral, and he had a lot of preachers at his funeral, a lot of really good, inspiring messages. It was the most attended live stream ever for evangelistic purposes. Wow. So higher than Billy Graham, higher than anybody in modern history, Franklin Graham included, his funeral. So that's a glorious thing.
Yeah.
And they made the whole thing a tribute to a little tiny bit of tribute to him, but the rest of it was really honoring God, which was really cool to see that spotlight.
Yeah, it was cool.
All right, I'm going to switch gears and help us kind of wrap the show. There's a couple things we need to hit that are really important, especially if you're an investor right now. The multifamily scene right now, there's some deals out there in the following cities. You've got some rent drops happening. When rents drop, what happens is that the NOI drops.
Put that number back up.
Operating income. You want to see this?
Put that number back up.
Sure. All right.
What did I just tell you about Austin?
Rent drop.
Because houses drop, right? Houses pricing drop. People are leaving. There's not as much demand. Therefore, and there was a lot of starts, right? And there's a lot of inventory coming in the market in Austin. So it's not a great place to be. But when it hits bottom, it's a great time to jump on and then watch things accelerate. And I'm here to tell you that I'm going to say March, we're going to start buying in Austin. Why March? Because that's when Powell's going to be leaving, right? And then we're going to start seeing rates come down. And then house prices are going to go up. And then those are going to be great deals. So I'm going to be going under some contracts probably the end of December, middle of January. And I'm going to slow walk them to closing. And if it happens the way I think it's going to happen, we're going to clean up.
Agreed. Chris, you and I almost took a Fort Myers, Florida deal.
Thank goodness.
And we did our homework and we said...
We saw the rent declinations there. We absolutely saw the rent declinations, and we didn't think there was any way that we could hit the pro forma numbers presented by the seller. And we were very honest about that, and we cut him loose quickly. Initially, there was other reasons that were involved in that deal. We thought it was in an opportunity zone. Turns out the opportunity zone ended across the street. So it was one of those deals that we had to walk away from, yeah.
I bet that bank that's in the middle of that one, I bet that bank would be happy to get our phone call today.
I bet you they would. And you know what? It's going to be $1 million less. I'm here to tell you.
Yeah. All right. Last but not least, we've got some communities out there blocking data center construction. So Microsoft, Google, all these big companies trying to throw up data centers. They put a lot of constraints on the water systems and the energy systems of the area, and some communities are rejecting it. My parents' hometown, Hermantown, Minnesota, they're supposed to put a big data center in, and there's some protesting going on about it right now. What are your thoughts on this, Chris, and how can we take advantage as investors?
Okay, this is a story, so you got to give me a few minutes. First of all, a lot of these data centers are hated. Like I have a home up in a very quiet part of North Carolina where utilities are cheap, and it's very quiet up there. Like I live in the mountains, and they put these Bitcoin mining centers in, or these data centers that allow Bitcoin mining or that kind of thing going on. And you can literally hear the noise of those data centers from miles away because it's so quiet. So that's one of the reasons people don't want them around. The other reason is the impact on the economy, on the infrastructure. They use a lot of energy. They use a lot of stuff, and people just don't want them in their communities. But I'm here to tell you that we're in the middle of a top secret deal, all right? And I can't publicly talk about that deal right now, but I can talk about bits and pieces about that deal. If you want to know more about this deal, you have to get on the wait list. So put in the comments below, contact me. What do we want them to say?
Wait list.
Wait list. Put wait list in a comment below and we'll reach out to you. I can't talk about this deal openly to you until you sign an NDA. But let me tell you, this deal is a telecom play with property that's in opportunity zones that will allow us to put data centers, because it's already set up for that, so that we can do a double data center roll up and sell it to hedge funds. And if you look it up, the number one roll ups right now are services, skilled trade services like plumbers, electricians, HVAC. The number two is data centers. And I've got two facilities as part of this deal that are already set up for data centers that are currently vacant. And end of 2027, we're going to, end of 2026, beginning of 2027, we're going to build out those data centers, roll them up, and make a killing on that. And listen, I get very excited when we make large profits like that, because the goal of this company is to take those profits and invest them in the world into people who need more than they have, right? That's the bottom line. And when I say need, I'm talking about basic necessities of life. The goal of our company is believe in more, and that more is not cash. The more is investing in people in the world. So once again, if you're interested in hearing about these deals or any other deal that we can't go public with, please, please, please put waitlist in the comments, and one of our team will reach out to you. We'll get you to sign a quick NDA, nothing crazy, just that you won't repeat the information that we give you, because we're in the middle of this transaction, and if the competitor finds out that we're taking this down, they'll try to get involved. Trust me. One of the things that these deals are for is you got to understand that we only deal with accredited investors. What that means is that you have $1 million net worth, exclusive of your primary residence, or you make $200,000 a year as a single person, or is it $350,000?
300.
300,000 as a couple. So once again, if you meet that criteria, it means you're an accredited investor. That's all it takes. Put waitlist in the thing below, and let's get you part of our inner circle so we can talk to you about these things.
Beautiful. Ladies and gentlemen, that's a wrap for this week's Opportunity Zone. We appreciate having you. Make sure you come back on Monday for Mindset Monday. If you haven't heard Chris's Mindset Monday, this is an 8-figure entrepreneur. He's exited so many companies, I can't count. I only got 10 figures. But he comes and shares the mindset stuff that it takes to actually accomplish this. So Mindset Monday, you can also put that in the comments, and our team will get you a link for it.
Absolutely.
All right. Chris, anything else you want to close with?
No, man. Listen, one thing I want you to be aware of is God has blessed you. The question you need to ask yourself, what are you doing with those blessings and those talents? Are you multiplying them? Are you out into the world and being fruitful? Are you having a positive impact? Is this world going to be a better place when you leave it than when you found it? If the answer to any of those questions is no, I beg you to start doing something different today. Join us, do something different, have a positive impact in the world. God love you. Hey, peace.